Howdy, Immortalium here, and today I want to discuss World Masterpiece Theatre. Now, I'm sure some of you are looking at this video and wondering yourself, World Masterpiece Theatre? What's that? And why is he talking about it? Before I start discussing that, I want to discuss how I came across World Masterpiece Theatre, because I do think that that's an interesting story. So, I was watching a series called Dororo, which I reviewed, by the way. And about halfway through the series, there was this title card that got added called Kalpis Manga Theatre. And as you might imagine, I was quite surprised by this. And I was wondering to myself, what is Kalpis Manga Theatre? And I go research it, and it turns out that it was the first name for what would become World Masterpiece Theatre. Now, it's important to note that Dororo is not representative of what World Masterpiece Theatre would become. A World Masterpiece Theatre is a series of anime series that were initially animated by Mushi Production before switching over to Nippon Animation for the majority of its run and airing on Fuji TV. And these were anime adaptations of Western literature predominantly. So you have such examples as Heidi Girl of the Alps, such as A Dog of Flanders, such as Anne of Green Gables, etc, etc. And these shows were big successes, both in Japan and internationally. They did incredibly well in Europe, in Latin America, etc, etc. But interestingly, they were never particularly popular in the English-speaking world. A few of them were dubbed into English, predominantly for airing in South Africa and Singapore, although a few of them did air on US and UK television. But they weren't anywhere near as popular as they were elsewhere. And if you're wondering why World Masterpiece Theatre is so important, one aspect that I would like to draw particular attention to is the many important individuals that worked on World Masterpiece Theatre and ended up becoming incredibly important individuals in the anime industry. So let's take, for instance, Heidi Girl of the Alps. Heidi Girl of the Alps was worked on by Hayao Miyazaki and Isao Takahata. If you are unfamiliar with those names, those are the founders of Studio Ghibli. A pretty big deal. But it's also worth noting that Yoshiyuki Tomino worked on Heidi Girl of the Alps. He is also known as the man who basically created the Gundam franchise, which, as you know, is very important and very influential. Besides that, a wide variety of other individuals such as Rintaro, such as Michiru Shimada, etc, etc, worked on these series, so I'm sure you can agree that these series are very important in the history of the anime industry. As popular as World Masterpiece Theatre was in Japan, as time went on, particularly in the 90s, its popularity began to wane, with a particularly noteworthy example being the last series to end the continuous run from 1969 to 1997, that being Remy, Nobody's Girl, which was so unpopular that it ended up actually being cancelled. Now, admittedly, later on, there was a kind of a brief revival from 2007-2009, where 3 anime series were released under the World Masterpiece Theatre branding. But since then, there hasn't been any new World Masterpiece Theatre series. But while World Masterpiece Theatre is no longer airing on Japanese television, at least any new versions of it, apparently reruns are quite popular in many of the older series, I'm still fascinated by World Masterpiece Theatre. I've heard many incredible things about many of the series, in particular Heidi Girl of the Alps, which I mentioned before is one of the anime series that I would love to see get an English release someday. But admittedly, there doesn't seem to be much interest in World Masterpiece Theatre series, and I also don't know if there'd be any legal issues with the fact that many of them are adaptations of literature. Nonetheless, I do hope that someday we see some of these series released by some anime publishers, but considering how important they were to the anime industry, both in terms of the people who worked on them, in terms of how they were received, I would just love to get the opportunity to watch them someday. So that was my discussion on World Masterpiece Theatre. Let me know if you've heard of World Masterpiece Theatre before, if you have watched any of them. If you have watched some of them, what did you think of them? Did you like them? Did you dislike them? Would you love to see an English release of them someday? And of course, if you have any additional information on the topic, leave it in the comments below. And of course, if you want to support the channel, I'd encourage you to use my Amazon affiliate links as well as my brand new Right Stuff affiliate link in the description below. When you purchase anime and manga through those affiliate links, not only are you supporting me, not only are you supporting the channel, but you're also supporting the anime and manga industry. So I would highly encourage you to use those affiliate links to purchase your anime and manga. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and bye-bye.